I've created lots of videos that show specific apps in detail, many of which would be really helpful when it comes to writing essays. But in this video, I'm going to take a step back, and rather than look at a specific app, I'm going to look at generic functionality and show you how and when I would use it when writing an essay. And I'm doing this because you can have the most up-to-date, brilliant, transformative technology, but if you do not know how to use it effectively, it won't help you get better grades. I'm Caroline Bateman, and I started this YouTube channel after helping my 3 dyslexic children go from failing to excelling in education because I wanted to pass on what worked. I want to help students that learn differently achieve more. So if that's something that interests you, I suggest you subscribe to the channel, click the bell button, and then you'll be informed when I create new videos. For many subjects, writing essays is a key skill when studying at school. Personally, I'm rubbish at it, and I rely heavily on technology to be able to write good essays. Now, I must tell you, I've also created a separate video because while I'm a huge fan of technology, I want to warn you about the dangers of using technology to write essays because I want to stop you making these common mistakes I see students make. Next, I plan to create a video that will share my secret weird tip to help dyslexics and others that struggle with essay writing write great essays. It might be weird, but it's really effective. In this video, I'm going to answer the question how to use technology. I'm not going to go into detail, but I will point you to videos where you can get more detail. I've identified 5 steps that I go through when I write an essay. Now, the most important thing at the very beginning is to understand the question. If a student doesn't understand the question, they have the danger of going off on a tangent, writing a lot of correct information, but not getting any marks because they haven't understood the question. It's then necessary to do research to find correct information that answers the question. And there's lots of different ways that students can do this, but however they do it, they then need to plan what to include. And how I do this is I get all the information down. I get everything that I could possibly include in the essay down into the document. And what some students do is they think some knowledge is assumed, but you cannot get a point if you do not explicitly state the information. So include everything that you could possibly get marks for. And then once you have all this information, you then need to organize it. Once it's organized in the correct logical order, and you've checked it answers the question and there isn't repetition, you then can refine and finesse to get maximum marks. Now, how does this differ between doing homework and in exams? Well, on the whole, the 5 steps are the same, except in homework, it's open book. You can do research, you can check out your class notes, your textbooks, you can go onto the internet and look for solutions. But when it comes to exams, you have to do this from memory. And then when it's about getting ideas down, actually putting information down on paper or in a document, when it's an exam, it's really important that that's done quickly because you only have a finite period of time in exams. So now I want to go into more detail as to how the technology can help and when to use it. And I apologize for this busy slide. In this column, I have the 5 steps, and then I'm going to talk you through exactly how and when to use technology. And in another video, I'm going to show you how technology can hinder in each one of these steps. And that's the next video I'm going to create. And while I am a huge fan of technology and I absolutely think students should use it, it is important to understand its limitations because there are some pitfalls that I see students fall into that really worry me, and I don't want to see students do these. But that is another video. For now, we're just going to talk about how technology can help. And first of all, in understanding the question. If the question is read aloud to students, it can really stop them going off on a tangent and answering the wrong question. When it comes to doing research, be it class notes or textbooks or over the internet, again, students can have it read aloud using text to speech. But where they do need to read, it's really helpful to have the text in a dyslexia friendly font. And when you have electronic class notes, textbooks, or you're on the internet, it's really easy to switch the font to be dyslexia friendly. And I have videos on both of these. So these are all my videos about text to speech, having text read aloud, and I start off with a really quick introduction and then go into detail dependent on the type of device you have. And the same is true when it comes to dyslexia friendly fonts. How you download them, the best ones to use, depend on what you're reading and what you're reading it on. So there's two areas where you can go into more detail. You can also change the background color or use a reading ruler or a panel. So if you're having to read an awful lot of information in order to answer the question, all these technologies will help. And if you would like to see changing the background color or using a reading ruler or a panel, you can see that in this video, which I'll link here. And then planning what to include, well, I would suggest you just type or dictate everything that you can think of that could possibly answer the question, and then use cut and paste. Cut and paste is brilliant for students with learning difficulties, particularly those with dyslexia or ADHD or ADD, because we do not think in a linear fashion. We do not think, oh, well, this is the best way to introduce my answer, and then this is the logical progression, and then this is the conclusion. We just have lots of ideas, and we just need to get them all down and then think about the order, and I just love cut and paste for that. But you can only use this really powerful functionality if your work is in an electronic format. So you have to type it or you have to dictate it. And I've created different resources to teach you more about, first of all, learning to type and typing work, and then how to use dictation. Now, this one has already been created. All the videos are created and they are in a playlist, although I will no doubt add to that playlist. But here, I have created the videos, but I haven't finished editing them. So if you'd like to see all these different videos on dictation, dependent on the device that you have, then I would suggest you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, and then you'll be informed when I publish them on YouTube. And that's how we organize our ideas. So we reorganize using cut and paste, and then we can read them aloud and listen for mistakes. And once we hear the mistakes, correct them. Because if you write by hand, you cannot use cut and paste, and you cannot listen for your mistakes. But it's also important when we come to the final step, when we are checking our work to make it easier to read and easier to mark. We're making the spacing nice and the underlining and the bullets, and we're going to check the spelling and grammar, and we're going to check the vocabulary, that we're not using the same word too often, but we're using synonyms or thesaurus, and we're checking that we've got enough adverbs and adjectives, so we can want to see that we've got all the different parts of speech, that our vocabulary is rich, and technology helps us with all of these. And if you'd like to learn more about these technologies, they can be found in this playlist. So how does the use of this technology differ when students are in exams as opposed to homework? Well, the big difference is the research. You cannot do research on the internet or textbooks, but you have to answer the questions from memory. And there are revision apps that will help students. So there is technology that help with this memorizing, but I'm not going to cover that here. But in the same way that you can have the question read aloud, that is also very important in exams, not just when doing homework. And in the past, we've used human readers, but now we can have computer readers, and these come in many different forms, and these read the text aloud. With a human, students are reluctant to ask them to read something repeatedly, could you read it again? But also, in some instances, they have to put up their hands in the exam hall, and students are very, very reluctant to do that. So technology is far better when it comes to having the questions read aloud. But also, it's not just a short text as far as the question is concerned. In some exams there's lots of supplementary information, so the comprehension text in an English paper or the sources text in a history paper requires students to read an awful lot of information, but all of this could be read out aloud for the student using text to speech. And when it comes to getting ideas down, we talked about the fact that it's important to be able to do this more quickly, and that's where typing and dictation is really important, because you can type so much faster than you can write, and you can dictate so much faster than you can write. But there's very, very few people that can dictate in exams, because you'd need a separate room and invigilator, because everyone would hear you dictating. And also cutting and pasting is possible if you type or dictate, so you can use that to organize and maybe listen back to your work. And all of this can be done in exams, but it is not possible normally to use the functionality to refine and finesse the spell check, the grammar check, the parts of speech, the help with thesaurus. That's not normally possible within exams. So my winning combination is that students have a computer reader and or laptop users in exams. If they have a computer reader, it improves students' confidence, and they're less likely to go off on a tangent and answer the wrong questions. But if students are a laptop user and they are a competent touch typist, they can type 2, 3, even 4 times faster than they can write. It also enables students to cut and paste and brainstorm the ideas, so they can get more down because they're writing quicker, and then they can reorganize, because we dyslexics are not lateral thinkers, and this allows us to put our thoughts in a more logical order. And also, if you're a poor speller, it enables you to copy correct spellings quickly without losing your place. And if you are a computer reader as well as a laptop user, you can listen back to your own work. Now, most schools are not using computer readers, so I've included some more information in the details below, so you can learn more about using computer readers in exams and access arrangements in general, because this is really important to have them in place. And to answer the question, how could typing impact on exam results? So you're typing if you're a laptop user in exams. Well, I've got this very quick demonstration that if a student writes at 19 words per minute, which would be a typical handwriting speed for a 16-year-old, if they wrote solidly for 2.5 hours, they would write approximately 190 sentences. But if they can just type 29 words a minute, which isn't very fast, they could write an extra 100 sentences. But I try to get my 16-year-olds typing at least 50 words a minute, in which case they could write an extra 310 sentences in 2.5 hours. In this video, I'm not going to go into all the assumptions that I've made, but here you can find these videos that go into a lot more detail. Being able to write an additional 310 sentences in the same time period can have a huge impact on final grades of exams. In the UK, these are not very difficult access arrangements to get. So if you are a laptop user, it is crazy not to invest in becoming a very good touch typist. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. This channel is all about helping learners achieve their potential. If that interests you, please subscribe, then hit the bell button so you'll be informed when I create new videos. I create lots of other helpful free resources. Some of them are depicted here. I will put a link on how you access these in the details below. Thanks for watching.